My employer owed me $192 in unpaid overtime. They told me why. I sweetly pretended to accept their explanation. It was an established, respected family art supply store with about a dozen employees that had been in the same location for decades. Employees were extremely knowledgeable, helpful and valuable, because they knew all the local artists. We weren't paid enough. Every 2 weeks, we'd sometimes work 48 hours WK1. If that happened, they'd cut our hours to 32 hours for WK2. Then the sneaky employers averaged both weeks together, so they never paid $X1.5 overtime. The most shocking part to me that as far as I knew no other employees had ever made a stink. We were ordered to never discuss our pay with other employees. That probably shielded their scammy method. After the office manager condescendingly explained averages to me and sent me on my way, I smiled and thanked her for helping me understand. Hee hee. After that, I anonymously called the U.S. Department of Labor to make inquiries. I ratted out the store by name. When I Googled the Department of Labor, I found a law firm advertising to help employees cheated out of OT pay. Serendipity. Then I told a coworker friend about it, and the two of us contacted as many current and former employees as we could track. A few were mad, but most said they'd suspected something. All the while, we worked our jobs happily, same as always. One day an auditor from the government came and returned 2 days in a row. On day 2, the store's actual owner, who was always too bougie and fancy to ever darken the door, showed up all puffed up and smiley, but left all sweaty with a frown. Then it was time to meet with the lawyer. The government made them pay accumulated retro overtime with interest to every employee they'd ever done this to. They had to put a notice in the paper, which I know was humiliating for such country club snoots. There was also big fine. I don't know exactly because I left to go to grad school. I heard 2 long-time employees hired the lawyer and sued not only the store, but the owner and that condescending office manager individually. Bottom line, if when I brought it to her attention the office manager had said oops and paid me my $192, instead of treating me like a child, they could have saved what I heard turned into $50,000. Cheaters suck, especially rich ones who take advantage of their workers. Story 2, Concert Revenge. This is my friend's story, but definitely one worth sharing. So my friend Josh, not real name, used to date a girl Sarah, not real name. Now there were 2 concerts that they both wanted to attend, one in October and one in January. Josh bought the tickets for the October one and Sarah bought the tickets for the January one. Not long after the October concert, their relationship broke down, the nail in the coffin being Sarah cheating on Joshua. They weren't on great terms after the breakup, but not terrible either. Sarah agreed that Josh could keep his ticket to the January concert as he'd paid for the October one standing tickets, so it's not like they would be seated next to each other. A few weeks before the concert it sells out. Shortly after this, Josh asked Sarah for the concert ticket, but she told him that she had changed her mind and was now giving the ticket to her friend instead. Josh asked both her and the friend to not do this as it was unfair and the concert had now sold out. Sarah and her friend refused and Josh was mad and upset. Until he got to thinking that actually maybe Sarah had already emailed him the ticket. He frantically checked his emails and to his joy, found that she had actually sent the concert ticket to him months earlier. Additionally, this wasn't a ticket with a name on it, so the first person to use it got it. Josh didn't say a word and organized with a friend of his to attend the concert as soon as the doors opened, knowing that it would be unlikely that Sarah and her friend would do the same as the main act wasn't on until a couple hours later. His plan was successful, and 30 minutes before the main act started, Sarah messaged Josh angrily asking him if he'd used the ticket. In response, Josh sent a photo of him and his friend enjoying the concert. Ultimate petty revenge. Story 3, I am 35, caught my wife F34 sending nudes to another guy on Snapchat. I found out on Christmas that my wife has been sending nudes to another guy on Snapchat. Someone I used to know in college, no less. I caught her a few times chatting with him late at night, but she said they were just friends, so I believed her. The red flags were raised and now I feel so dumb. It had apparently been going on for a few months before the two of them decided to stop, so she says, because it wasn't right. I had my suspicions it was going on, but only really found out because I stumbled across the Christmas gift she had tucked away for him. I checked the logs in our nanny cam and saw what she was up to. More than I wanted to see. She needed even when I had evidence in my hands. She eventually cracked and told me mostly everything. I'll be honest, I took it in the worst way. I just wanted to end it all right then and there. I had been beating myself over the head with the thought of her cheating for months and finally found out that it was true. I had a breakdown. I'm embarrassed at how I acted and am now getting help, but what's done is done. So, the next day or two we talked and talked. We decided that we should start over. We took a day trip to our favorite spot upstate and I asked her if she meant what she said about starting fresh and she said yes. But since then nothing has changed. Honestly, it's worse. She hides her phone screen from me when I'm around and she's on it all the time. I know for a fact that she still snaps him and I'm pretty sure I've caught her trying to send another nude. It feels like she's ducking this guy while I'm sitting on the couch next to her. Reddit, what the hell should I do? Should I leave her? Should I stay and work things out? We have 2 kids and a whole life together. I just don't know what to do. Story 4, I 26M think my wife 24F has been spying on me excessively. My wife has always been a little into my business, but last night you exposed yourself to me in ways I didn't know she was capable of. We have been on and off fighting due to the stressed out holidays, an infant 10 months old, and moving into a brand new house that is completely in her name. I told her that I am struggling with my mental health, and due to that I have sought out a therapist and I am on medications to help out with PTSD. She has not always responded the best with empathy, and I told her the occasional I am sorry or a deep conversation would be better than getting mad and telling me that she is a strong woman and don't have to change. I told her I am not asking for her to change, but instead work together to make us both happier. That is the premise of our arguments, which come and go, and no, she doesn't need to shoulder the blame. I can be better too with my communication skills. Last night, she asked me to tell her the truth. I was baffled. I had no idea what she was talking about and she would not elaborate much. She said she got a "you all okay?" message, but that is all she would say. The only person I had talked to about my wife and I was my mom, and it was only cause I was a dark place and I feared being alone. Thoughts are dangerous. Then she proceeded to tell me basically all of the conversation my mother and I had. All the details of it, and neither of us said anything horrible, but I could see her being offended by some of the things said. She even brought up points from what my mom said about seeking a male counselor instead of a female, the male being a family friend named Rory for confidentiality's sake. The other thing is, my wife was not home when I talked to my mom, she was instead on her way to work, so I went all night thinking my mom had exposed me and told her everything we said, and I was mad at my mom for this. I waited on my mom to wake up, and I called her to ask her why she would do anything like that when I asked her not to tell anyone. She was very honest with me and told me that she had not talked to anyone. Then I'd tell my mom how I recently figured out that my wife had access to my Google accounts, can see my search and browsing history, and has the Find My iPhone app to track my location. My mom explains that is not normal, which I know, but I haven't gave my wife a reason to worry till now. I am at a loss. What do I do and how do I handle this? I feel violated and like I have someone over my shoulder. How could she have all this information on me? I only can figure she dropped in on our new Echo show or she has my phone recordings. I don't think anyone texted her. Update, I 26M feel as if my wife 24F is in total control. Good morning, I guess this issue started about 8 weeks into our relationship and I seen the warning signs, but I ignored them. We have been together for a few years now. When we were dating for about 8 weeks, we were on our way home from a wedding 2 states over. I knew I had been faithful to her since we started talking, but I had been talking and dating around before we went on our first date. I had nothing serious going on when we went on a date, no other women that I was really talking to, and since that day I had wrapped my world around this woman. During this trip home, she went through my phone, no big deal to me. She threw a fit, claiming I had talked to other girls before her just the way I talked to her. I defended myself, but she was irate, said she no longer felt special. I get that it made her upset, I wouldn't want to read that, but I would understand that she was a person before me as well and could have talked to whoever she wanted. I kind of just took the punches. As we went on, she did not want to acknowledge the people of my past, even though they had to come up at some point. I have an ex-wife, I got married too early in life, right out of high school. It happens, I felt pressured and I did it. She never called my ex 27F by her name, only referring to her as Voldemort, kind of funny, but never allowed me to vent about her. I was cheated on by my ex with my best friend, who was also our groomsman for our wedding. I hold no feelings, but worth venting over at times. She can talk about her ex, who gaslit her a lot and was manipulative over her at times. I let her vent, but I can't vent my frustrations. Now to where I get frustrated. I have lost all sense of individuality. I have not went to eat with my boys in a few years, and I get in trouble for playing video games. If I play longer than 30 minutes then it is too long and she will go to bed angry or be very short with me. Also, my family is always an issue to her, as they either rub her the wrong way or do things that outright PSS her off. I haven't seen my family since Christmas and we live very close to each other. Another thing now is, if I don't stay home on my days off and clean the house, cook or provide food, do laundry, and get the house in order, I get scolded. Last week, she got bitter with me and said it pisses me off that you won't be home to keep the house together when I worked all week to keep it clean. In fact, during this time I was not going to be home. I was taking the dogs to the groomers and going to a therapist for PTSD depression. I was off the next 2 days after that, and I cleaned and did all I could during my time off. Now, the house is completely in her name alone, with my name not on the deed or house anymore. The S time is S time how she wants it, and if she don't like it we stop and she won't talk to me. I am a S time abuse victim by a relative that was 6 years older than me. So S time wool problems tend to wear really hard on me. I have no time for my personal hobbies, family, or friends. When we go eat, she picks where and we go to the stores she wants, and I don't get to go where I'd like. At home, I no longer get to relax and watch sports on the weekends like I would like to. Last week, she recited a conversation I had in private with a family member. I have no idea how she heard it. My family member said she never said a word. Which leads me to believe she is spying on me, and she refuses to announce how she knows. My top idea is through our Alexa devices, spyware on my phone, or a hidden camera which we have an extra camera I can't find. She has access to all my Google accounts, and can see my browsing history and device usage. I tried to take a nap yesterday which I hardly ever do, but I was afraid I wasn't doing enough in the house and when she got off work that she would be mad at me if it didn't look great. If I get frustrated, she locks herself up and will sleep it off. It only occurs if I open my mouth though. It has left me checked out, and my attraction to her is suffering. I feel like I am struggling to keep her happy. Now, I asked her to listen to my concerns and desires and it only led to multiple fights. Her go-to is I don't have to change, you know what you got when you married me. Her family is full of strong women, as well. Her mom was abusive as a wife and mother, and controlled her husband and daughters with a sharp tongue and abuse. I have heard the stories, it was abuse. Update, I 26M feel as if my wife 24F is in total control. I have talked to my sister 32F, and she gave me a disgusting response. She told me I was not being abused, as she knew what abuse was. She was attacked by an ex years ago, but I felt like I couldn't talk to her either. I am no longer sure who to talk to, as my wife doesn't want me to talk to anyone and I don't want to make her look bad in front of family, but the therapists, individuals, and Redditors I have told my stories to have told me I am definitely in an abusive relationship. I am alone in this life right now till I can get back into my therapist's in 2 weeks. We talked last night and she begged me to talk to her, but I just could not find the words to say anymore. When I explain my thoughts and concerns, I get answers like me too. Or but you or they have done. It just leads me to being even more sad and afraid to say how I feel. I have tried to explain that I have always tried to give her the time she needed and space. I told her that even though I have begged for a date night, just us and no kids, that it has never happened. She says I never asked, which I know is not true. I have asked for us time and alone time for the both of us, instead of 100% both of us together as a family. I think it is important we have our time just us and doing our own personal hobbies. That is when she lost it on me, said she never wants her time. Then she told me that I am free to go whenever and do what I want if I ask. I have asked, when I do I get belittled and she acts like I'm being selfish. It led to me just being quiet and her berating my family, telling me the stuff all they have done to hurt her. I get it, my family is not perfect, in fact they are far from it. I could not talk anymore. She asked if I wanted a couples therapist and I am not sure I want to, even though I said yes. I no longer feel like my opinion matters, and others on the outside told me they feel like my opinion doesn't matter within the household as well. I am afraid to say anything cause of her reaction or harsh tones. She could tell she kept striking nerves on me yesterday, and after a while she kept trying to hug me and say she was sorry for hurting my feelings, but I again could not bring any words forth. It hurts me that I can't say any words, but I can't bring myself to say all the things that hurt me like the spying on me, the control over the things I do in the house, and for God's sake I can't even nap without being afraid of the consequences of my actions. Our rest time life is important to me, it is usually a highlight of my time when it happens and not even now does it excite me. Am I just completely checked out and would a couples counselor even help? Redditor's reactions next story after. Redditor 1, I think you should outright refuse going to couples therapy. Professionals recommend not doing couples therapy with an abuser, because they learn more about your vulnerabilities and use them against you. Other than that, just try to get by until you can talk to your therapist again. If it's not an in-person session, make sure you're doing somewhere she couldn't be spying on you. Ask them to help you come up with a plan to get you out of there and eventually, divorced. Redditor 2, up. Both of your posts read like a laundry list of reasons to break up. You sound caged wild animal level trapped right now, and frankly, as though you've checked out. I'm gonna ask you a question, mostly because I think it'll benefit you to think of the answer, not because I expect you to actually answer me. If nothing in your life changed, and you were going to live it exactly as it is right now, can you do that? I'm guessing no. Serious and major changes would need to be made, for that to be possible, is my bet. Sunk cost fallacy aside, are you really willing to sit there and put your needs on hold for the amount of time it's going to take to fix this broken nonsense? Like, in order for it to be functional, you guys both probably have a lot of undoing of poop and reworking it to do, just to get to the place you'd be starting at with somebody new. Especially true if you continue in therapy, and keep on doing personal development work. Asking you to ask yourself, do you really have that much investment left in you? Frankly, I don't think anybody should be allowed to get married until they're 25 when their little toddler brains are done developing. I think you have some serious reconsiderations to make about the people in your life, if they're telling to you man up and accept this bullpoop. And I think that divorces are so freaking expensive because they're worth every penny. You'll also find out who your real friends are, pretty darn quick. Redditor 3, I've been here, my friend. The peace you'll find in life without her is worth the worry you have now that she's the best you'll find. It's time to go. You barely mention your kids but really imagine what they're witnessing and how it's going to affect them. It's not good. Story 5, 26M25F I feel selfish for wanting my wife to quit her new career because of an affair. There's a long backstory that I will sum up in a few sentences to save time. My wife and I have been married for over 7 years. My wife started real estate in December of 2021. I supported her in every way to ensure her success. The night before Memorial Day I found out she had been having an affair with another realtor for about a month, and it hit me extra hard because I'm a disabled veteran and it's not my favorite holiday of the year. We separated for a little while and tried to figure things out because we knew we wanted to be together, but we had to heal from the damages that had been done. We were both seeing other people during this 6-ish month separation, so that didn't help either. In September she started a new job because I refused to support her financially while she wasn't holding a guaranteed paying job. In December we decided we wanted to get back together and work on things. We spent the holidays together and everything was up and down truthfully. Lately it's been great for the last 2 weeks, but she quit her job over a week ago due to them basically telling her she had to change positions or she'd be let go, so she quit. Since then she has been focusing real estate again, which I am super uncomfortable with. I have pushed myself outside of my comfort zone to try and accept that this career is something she enjoys, but I get so mad when she has networking events or work events in real estate because it's always a drinking thing and I just don't trust her yet. I've really sat alone and tried to analyze what it is that I dislike about real estate, and I've concluded that I just don't like the career because she had an affair right after starting it. I know it's stupid to blame the career, but I truly don't like it. I know that a cheater is going to cheat no matter what, so I feel selfish for saying I won't be with her if she's in real estate just because of the trauma that's attached to it in such a short period of time. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, and that is precisely why, children, you never, ever, under any circumstances, forgive a cheater. You don't trust her because she has no reason to be trusted. You should seek therapy to resolve this dependency on her and let her go at once. Redditor 2, you are basically choosing to stay in a relationship that will hurt you forever. You'll never trust her, be it real estate networking meeting, be her going out alone. You know the only way of healing from this, in ending it, it will demand some time, but in the long run it's the best thing to do, otherwise both of you will walk on eggshell forever. You have only 26 yo without children. You have nothing attaching her to you. Redditor 3, doesn't sound like she has done anything to help you with the hurt, or counseling or anything to help this marriage. You have no trust because she doesn't help you to trust her. You emo are better off without her for your own sanity. She cheated before and she will cheat again.